Welcome to this presentation on introduction of balanced scorecard. We will give you a brief introduction as what is a balanced scorecard in this videos around it. So it has been said that anything that can be measured can be managed. And if anything that can be managed, probably we can improve upon it. And that is what performance management thinking is all about it. First try to measure something, then probably once you started measuring, are you able to measure something, start managing that particular measurement. And once you are able to manage, control those measurement, can you improve that measurement so that it can be achieved. And this is nothing but performance management is all about it. Robert Samuel Kaplan and David Peter Norton, 1996, in Balanced Scorecard stated a set of measures that gives top manager a fast but comprehensive view of the businesses include financial measures that tells the result of actions already taken, complements the financial measures on customer satisfaction, internal process, the organization innovations and improvement activities, operational measures that are the drivers of future financial performances thereby. Now that is what we are trying to go around there. A comprehensive viewpoint, a 360 viewpoint of the business. That means finance part of it, customer part of it, internal process part of it, and learning and growth, innovations and improvement activity. This is what is happening as of today for and doing interpreting the result for tomorrow or in something in futures. And that is what balanced scorecard is all about it. It is nothing but a management tool that provides stakeholder with comprehensive health measurements of an organization. When I say comprehensive health of an organization, how the organization is progressing towards achieving of the strategic goals per se. And that is what we are looking out here. Balances financial and non-financial measures. Finance and non-finance means perhaps goodwill, perhaps satisfaction, perhaps loyalty. Balances short-term and long-term measures, perhaps 3 months, 3 years, or 5 months, 5 years, or 2 months and 2 decades. Balances performance drivers as in leading indicators or outcome measures as in lagging indicators. Leading indicators which are giving you an indication that what is going to happen after a completion of a tenure. So what is going to happen after a company? It's a future oriented. That's the reason why it's a leading indicator. But once the tenure has been completed, that means outcome has been come. For example, revenue generated. Leading indicators might be sales lead, perhaps leads to strategic focus and organizational alignment thereby towards the goals of the organization. Essentially, the traditional balance scorecard supplement traditional financial measures. Usually, we all have a thinking of thought process that any company which is doing good should be financially profitable and should be cash rich. That is what the traditional financial measures are all about it, with the criteria additional in addition to performance from those of customers, internal business process, and learning and growth if you want to go around it. And that is what we are trying to understand every now and then. The new balance scorecard translates a business units measures and the strategies into tangible objective measures. The measure represents a balance between external measures of shareholders, customers, internal measures, and critical business processes, innovations, learning and growth, as being mentioned out there. Four perspective in balance scorecard methods. There are just four about it, and I keep on saying around. First and foremost is the strategy, right? Now, this strategy can only come from financial perspective, as in how we are managing our funds, where are we sourcing it from, what are we doing, and capitalize on the extra money that comes around it. Again, from the customer perspective, to achieve our vision, we must look what we are doing it. Internal perspective to satisfy customers, which processes must we excel at. Leading and growth perspective to achieve a vision, we must have our organization learn and improve as the case might be. Strategies and balance scorecard. Mission, why do we exist? Vision, where do we want to be? And values, how important it is to us. Now, these three can actually lead to a strategy game plan as to an execution part of it. How do we come across it? As we need to understand time and again. The strategy map can translate the strategies. Balance scorecard can measure and focus satisfied shareholders, delighted customers, excellent processes, and motivated workforce per se, as and when you want to go around it. This is what we should be talking about here. This is actually what was published in Harvard Business Review. We are talking about the financial perspective, we are talking about the internal business process, we are talking about customers and learning growth. And believe me or not, on each of these perspectives, there are only four things that we are trying to figure out: objective, measures, targets, and initiative. So, what are the objectives for financial? What are the objectives for learning and growth? How do we measure those financial objectives or learning and growth measures? What are the targets for the customers and the target for internal business process? And what are the initiatives that we are trying to forward? Now, these are the four things. What are we aligning into it is nothing but vision and strategy for the company. The strategy focused organization is what we aspire to be, mission, what do we want to be, goals, what we want to achieve, strategies, how we accomplish our goals, measures, indicators of our progress per se, and how do we go across it. So, strategy focused organization is vision, what we aspire, mission, what we do, goals, what we want to achieve, strategies, how we accomplish our goals, and measures, indicators of our progress as the case might be. Now, what has been happening? Management translated strategies into performance measures that employees understand and accept. Exactly speaking. Now, this is what we are looking forward to it. Performance measures is all about finances, customers, internal business process, learning and growth, as the case might be. What are we looking forward? Again, we are trying to improve only four parameters of a business, and it will actually lead to a transformation in the organization of the business. Absolutely, in terms of financial, internal business process, learning and growth, and customer thereby. So, strategic map framework is presented in the subsequent slides, which will talk about each perspective in terms of finance, customers, internal business, and learning and growth. In terms of finances, if you look into the framework into it, every company would like to be cost efficient. Everybody would like to have a bottom line heavy or revenue growth. Now, this can be done in terms of price, quality, service, availability, and brand. Exactly, these are the things that impacts the customers, end customers. They might be price sensitive. They are ultra quality sensitive. They would love to have a comfortable service, availability, and brand should be renowned as such. Now, how do we come across this financial and customer thing? Through internal process. Why? Because quality has an operational management perspective. Service as a customer management. These are all internal process, mind you. The company has to work upon it. Be it on the production basis, be it on the service basis, be it on an innovation basis, or the regulatory framework basis as such, the social process. So finance, customers, internal business process are linked together. Now, there are impediments, there are learning, there are efficiency, there are points that needs to be picked up, and that is what learning and growth is all about. It in terms of human capital, in terms of organizational capital, in terms of information capital, as in what have you learned, what was the impediment, and how did you go about with it. This is what we should be looking around here. Financial perspective in private companies, the financial perspective is the main objective, ultimate goals, without having to sacrifice the interest of other relevant stakeholders, community, environment. In financial perspective, the strategic goal is to have a long-term shareholder value. This goal is driven by two factors, namely revenue growth and cost efficiency. How do we go across with it? Is the revenue growth and cost efficiency time and again. We talk about these strategic objectives in financial, long-term shareholders' values, how we go across with it. Cost efficiency is to improve cost structures, increased asset utilizations. Revenue growth is expand revenue opportunities, enhanced value, economic value added as on when on basis. This is what we are talking about the financial objective thereby. Customer perspective, this perspective is very instrumental because without customers, how can a company survive? You need to tell me. This is what, if there are no customers, do you think the organization is going to be existing? Probably no. So, customer perspective covers the acquisition of the customers, the retention of the customer, the profitability of the customer, the market share thereby, and the customer satisfaction as on when on basis. So this is very true as far as customers. Remember, without customer, organization doesn't exist. So you need to acquire customers. You do not. You need to retain customers who have already acquired. You need to make sure that customers are profitability, the market share is increasing, and the satisfaction of the customer is of highest level. And that is what we can do through price, quality, service, availability, and branding. Purpose is all about it. These are the strategic objectives of a customer per se. Now, in terms of internal perspective, process perspective, what are we looking into it? We can do about price, quality, availability, and everything only through customers management process, operational management process, innovation process, and regulatory social process, or else we cannot do it. So we need to be following the federal law of the land, probably, yes, or the provincial government law of the land, or the regulatory framework form forward. We need to make innovations, inventions so as to mandatorily thrill the customers, customer management process, operation management process, and so on and so forth. Strategic objectives and internal processes. Internal processes are something which we need to understand in terms of operation management. Why? Because that operation would be talking about supply, production, and distribution. Processes that produces your output. Processes that produces your end product. What is customer management's process? This is where you enhance the customer value in terms of selection, acquisition, retention, and growth of customers. Remember, you are not only have building relation with them, you are also thrilling them, you are also ensuring good quality product at an affordable price at a very quicker delivery, service delivery. And that is what customer management is all about, it for selecting them, for acquiring them, retaining them, and growth. Innovation process that creates new products and services, new ideas, research and development portfolio, design and develop, launch. Regulatory and social process that improve communities and environment, safety and health, employment and community, as the case might be, as and when on basis. These perspective reflects the capability that a company should have, namely human capital, organization capital, information capital. This perspective shows that good human resources development, organization system, and information system forms a solid foundation for improving companies' performances, thereby as and when on basis. How do we go across with it, as the case might be? We are talking about the strategic objectives in learning growth, human capital, skills, and knowledge set, as the case might be. Your employee skills, your employee knowledge, attitude. We are talking about the organizational capital, culture, leadership, and organizational development as on when on basis. Information capital is all about how you organize your data, how you organize your system, the network then and there. The strategy map template will give you the financial perspective, as in how will you improve the cost efficiency, how will you increase the revenue growth, how will you build more customers performances, expand more, acquire more customers, expand more market shares, enhance brand image. In terms of internal processes, the operational excellences needs to be done, taken care of, and how do we go across with it? What needs to be done? Learning and growth strategies would all about developing strategies then and there, building the structures then and there, and so on and so forth. The balance scorecard, how do we work, look forward towards it? And this is what we need to be understood time and again. How does the owner work around? If that is what we are talking about, how can we continually to grow, and how do we look at the customers, as the case might be, and what are our learning process as far as the internal process is concerned? What do we do good, excel in, and what needs to be work around it? And if you look into it, every process is intricate. Every one is interrelated to another process altogether. Financial perspective. Let me give you the four perspective time and again. To succeed financially, how should we appear to the shareholders? Profitable, making good amount of money. Typically, we are talking about ROC, or returns on capital employed, the money involved into it, or EVA, or economic value added, or let's say sales growth, as the case might be. Now, these are only nothing but indicators as to your company's strengths, strategy, implementation are concerned. Financial perspective is how do we look at stakeholders? Are we just about surviving, or we are flourishing? What are we looking into it? Are we surviving, succeeding, or just prospering thereby? It will tell the companies as in good hand or not. Customer perspective is to achieve a vision. Now, are we looking to the customers? Is it a dominant brand that comes around? Is our brand as the highest priority, highest recall factor? Identify customers and market segment in which business unit will complete their performances in this target market. Typically include customer satisfaction, customer retention, new customer acquisition, customer profitability analysis, thereby, and how do we go around it. Enable managers to articulate their unique customers for producing superior future financial return. This is what we are looking forward to it. Enable managers to articulate their unique customers for producing superior things, quality things. The perspective is how does the customer view us? See us as in a new product, as an innovative company, as a customer responsive company, very own up responsible company, or is it the fact that our there are no compromises as far as the quality is concerned in our product. So we are talking about new product, we are talking about responsiveness, we are talking about quality per se, as the case might be. Balance scorecard, the customer perspective core measures are market share, customer profitability, customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer satisfaction. How do we take into consideration as far as the customer perspectives are concerned? Remember, this is what we are trying to drive out here. Internal process to satisfy our shareholders and customers. What business process must we excel in? The business process, innovations and operation, and post-sale services. To identify the critical internal process in which our customers must excel in order to increase the customer satisfaction. Typically includes time needed to produce a new product cycle time, and machine efficiency. Now, these are internal process that needs to be done around here. Our internal processes should include the machinery that we are working upon. Are they up to date? Are there any problem with as far as the tolerance is concerned? What is the thing that the company does in an emphatic fashion which no other company can replicate? Now, these are the internal process that needs to be taken into consideration. Remember the value chain perspective about the customer requirement and the customer need satisfaction. So first and foremost thing is requirement, the need identification. You need to understand, design, develop the business. Then probably once you have designed and developed the product in tune with the requirement of the customers, then probably start for the large scale manufacturing market. But before that, you need to have a pilot survey for the product. The test marketing has to be done, and once this has been approved, probably you go for mass production and then servicing. Now, this is what your internal business process is all about it, from product design to product development. Operation is all about manufacturing, marketing, and post-sale services. The question that we need to understand and probably try to answer is what we must do to excel currently is in the manufacturing sectors, in the service sectors, in the new product sector, and so on and so forth. The last perspective is all about the innovation and learning perspective. Can we continue to grow, add value, create a sense of recall in the minds of the customers? This can only be done through technology leadership. This can only be done to be keeping ahead of the curve and time to the market, and having a potent force in terms of employee training and satisfaction. So yes, we are talking about technology leadership, time to market, employee training, and satisfaction. Cause effect relationship, what are we looking out here? Remember the four things that comes around here. These are the four things that we are looking at it: financial, customers, internal, and the learning and growth. So what should be talking about? It is your customer. Remember this, the arrow is always from bottom to the top, as the case might be. From employee skills, which means process quality, and the cycle time. If process quality is good enough and the cycle time is short enough, that means nothing but on time delivery. If things are on time delivery, customers are going to be thrilled and they are going to be staying with your product, with your company for a longer period of time. That means the ROC or EVA is going to be higher enough. So return on capital employed and economic value added will be always be higher enough. So essentially, balance scorecard is comprehensive in totality, 360 degree viewpoint, coherent, balances, and measurable. These are things that needs to be understood. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the very end.